Hi everyone. In our previous lectures or previous videos, we have discussed what is research, what are different types of research, what is need of research. So in today's presentation, we will discuss steps involved in research. So the contents today we are going to cover is what different points you have to take into consideration while choosing the topic. Then from where you have to conduct the literature of review or review of literature, how to formulate research questions that you are going to ask or collect info so solution for that, then how to write working hypothesis, what should be the good characteristics of hypothesis, selecting the research design, sample size estimation, collecting the data using different tools and techniques, how to analyze the data, preparation of report, and how to publish the study. So all those things we are going to complete in our today's presentation. So before starting, we'll start choosing your topic. This is the very important point to get succeed in your research. So when you are selecting a topic, you have to take care of some points. So if you are not considering those points, then your research may be of incomplete. So what points you have to take into consideration? The first thing you have to take into consideration is that personal interest and background knowledge. Means what topic we are selecting for our research, whether that research topic is of your interest or somebody else has forced you to complete the particular research. That matters a lot in doing the research. Also, you have to select a subject of which you are having some background knowledge. If you don't have any background of the particular subject and if you are trying to do research in that subject, then that research will create n number of hurdles for you. So the first point you have to take into consideration while selecting topic is that you have to choose your topic with your interest and knowledge what you are having. On the basis of that you can go ahead with. The second point you have to take into consideration that problems faced in own area. If you are working on the particular area, if you are having some theoretical or practical background, and within that, if you identify some lacunas, within that, if you identify some problems, then to discover the solution of that particular problem, you have to select a research topic. Research priorities in the organization means what topic you are selecting, whether that is a need of somebody, that somebody may be a person, that may be an organization, that may be a society. You have to identify whether the research topic what I have selected that is helpful for the society, helpful for the organizations, or who is getting the benefit of my research. You have to identify that, and on the basis of that, you have to select the topic. If the topic you have selected is not doesn't help to it doesn't help to any members, that may be organization, that may be society, or that may be individual, then that research is of no use. Then next point you have to take into consideration is you have to discuss your topic with your colleagues as well as your guide, because guide is an expert person who is having idea about different hurdles, different issues, that different problems that may incur while conducting the research. So if you discuss your subject with your colleagues or with your guides, they will suggest you what should be the scope, what different problems you may face in future. So by taking that knowledge, by taking that wisdom from those members, you have to identify whether the selected topic is feasible for me to complete or not. And once you identify the topic is feasible for me, then and then only you have to go ahead with the selected topic. The next one is also you have to identify what topic I am selecting, for that whether I am having some literature material or not. Means what? If you are having some supportive material, then and only you can go ahead with your topic. If you don't have any written material, if you don't have literature reviews, then it will create a problem for you. And last one is you have to select a topic which is unique one, which is new one, because these topics which are already discovered, that some members who have shared their views on the particular topic, and same topic you are selecting for your research, then that topic is of no use. So while selecting the topic, you have to consider these points before starting your research. Then next one is a review of literature. Once you've identified the topic for your research, then you have to identify from where I can get the material which is published one by somebody else who has given their suggestions, who have given their findings. So we have to identify what methods they have used, what findings they have suggestions given, so what suggestions they have given. So by taking that as an input, you have to go ahead with your research topic. So from here you can collect the topic, that material you have to collect from different sources. So what are those different sources? The first source is that, so before that discussion, we can say why to perform literature review. What is basic need? So first main issue of literature review is that it gives big picture of field. Means how many members they have performed such type of work. What level of the work the other members or the research has completed. What area of findings they have found. What the further enhancement study they have suggested. On the basis of that, we can go ahead to identify that the whole of the work completed by other members. You should have thorough literature review. Second one is to introduce the work that you will use. Means for our research, what baselines we are going to use, from where we are going to start your research work. To identify that, you have to do the literature review. Introduce the limitations of these works and why they don't solve your problem. Means what other members have used methods, what other members have used techniques, and what different limitations they have faced. So to overcome those limitations, you have to select or why they have failed to get the correct answer. So for that purpose, if you are doing study, then you have to give references. By referring this disease, I come to know that these are some lacunas. And to overcome those lacunas, I am going to propose the current study. So you to write these things, you have to do the literature review. And also give some hints to your solution. This solution is true because the other members who have done such type of parallel studies, by referring their studies, you can give your suggestion, you can give your hints. So for collecting the data, from where you have to do the literature review, for that purpose, you have to review some systematic reviews published by some other members. Also, you have to review full text articles that are published in some books, in some that may be available in the books may be available in some libraries, from where you can get the books on material and on free basis or on fee basis also. Also, you have to refer some general information from different certified sites, because if you are doing some research and if you are referring to websites, then that website should have some authenticity. So if you refer those websites, then that is also your a good literature review part. And last one, the members who have published their research work in Scopus journals or Google Scholar databases. So by referring those things, you can go ahead with your research. So to do the literature review, you have to identify which is the quality material, from where you can get quality material, and by referring that quality material, you can go ahead with your research work. So, second important point after identifying the research topic is that from where we have to collect the information, from where we have to get idea about the detailed idea about the concepts or tools or techniques we are going to use in our research, that you have to do in literature review. Then the third point is formulation of research questions. That is nothing but statement of problem. Means what research work we are going to conduct, that you have to formulate as a research question. So in that, from the title itself, the other members can easily get understood what is the objective of the research, from where he is going to complete the research, what are the boundaries of research, and how the research will be helpful. So all those information you should get from the research topic. So for that purpose, what you have to do, first of all, you have to do the extensive literature search. You have to do literature search about what other members, what other researchers they have completed their studies, what findings they have observed, what limitations they observed, and on the basis of that, you have to identify research gap. What issues, what they are going to research, identify, and what they discovered, what different problems, what different issues that created that gap that you have to identify, and on the basis of that you have to prioritize the prioritize them as per your feasibility. So as per the gap identify, you have to check out of that gaps, out of that issues, which issues can be resolved. So on the basis of that priorities, you have to include those issues in your research. Means what previous members have done the research, what they identify a problem, what are the reasons due to which they found the problems. Then, if possible, you have to identify is your research will give solution for that problems or not. And if it gives, then you have to use those points in your research. So this, in this fashion, you have to formulate your research topic. Then while deciding a research topic, your research topic must focus on these five objectives or five considerations. First one is a population, means from where we are going to complete the research. Intervention, why I am going to conduct research. Comparisons, so I am going to compare the results of mine with the existing one, and what is the outcome of my research and how much time will be required. So all those things you have to, we can say, incorporate in your statement of problem. So one simple example we'll see. Suppose I am doing one research for adult patients. Will the use of toothbrush compared to the fingers result in reduction of gum issues? So this is my title. This is my title. So what is my study? I'm going to study on gum issues by taking into consideration adult patients. And what I am comparing? I am comparing the effectiveness of toothbrush and finger brush. So in this case, what is my population? My population is adult patients. What is my interventions? I am going to check whether the toothbrush is better one or finger is better one. So I am going to compare the effectiveness of toothbrush as well as finger. And what I am going to check? I am going to check efficiency of toothbrush and finger while doing brush, while doing, we can say, paste to our gums. What affects more? So this is my title. So in my title, the title should give about information about population, intervention, comparison, and outcomes. So in this fashion, you have to design, you have to formulate your research topic. The next point is research question should pass to so what type question. So what type test means what? While designing the research topic, while selecting the research topic, you have to ask some questions. Means what? First one is whether the research topic what I am selecting, what is the scope of research I am selecting, whether that is feasible for me or not. That research topic I have selected is of my interest or not. What research topic I am selecting, whether that is novel work or not. If the work is already confirmed by somebody else, and if the same work I am repeating, then that is not a good work. So that work should be novel. What practices I am going to use in my research work, whether that is ethical or not, that also you have to take into consideration. Whether the use of my research is applicable to someone or not. That is, you have to check the relevance of your work and whether we are going to use some advanced scientific knowledge to prove some theories or prove some things or not. All those things you have to take into consideration. So if you ask questions to your research topic like to check its feasibility, its interest, novelness, ethicalness, relevant and advanced, and then if all solutions comes in favor of your topic, then and only you have to go ahead with your selected topic. Then next fourth point is that formulation of hypothesis. So in first point we have discussed what you have discussed in first point. In first we have started, in first point we have identified the problems, of selecting the research topic. So second, we have discussed from where you have to collect the data, that is literature review. In third point, we have discussed how to formulate the statement of problem. And fourth, we are going to discuss regarding formulation of hypothesis. Hypothesis are nothing but assumptions, a tentative explanation about certain phenomena or event that may occur that you are considering. So that assumptions are nothing but hypothesis. So while developing hypothesis, different activities you have to take into consideration. What are those? First, you have to the working hypothesis should be a tentative assumptions. We describe concurrently what is expected in a research study. Hypothesis should be very specific and limited, that helps to keep researcher on the right track, and also it indicates the type of data required and the type of methods of data analysis to be used. So while designing hypothesis, while development of hypothesis, you have to take into consideration hypothesis should be simple, there should not be ambiguity, and it should be achievable. So all those things you have to take into consideration while developing the hypothesis. Then next point is selecting the research design. So once you identify all those things, you have to decide what type of research I am going to complete. Means whether my research is experimental research or my research is of survey-based research. So that design you have to take into consideration before going ahead. To complete my research, to complete my objectives, what type of activities I have to conduct, whether I have to conduct experimental research, experimental activities, or I have to conduct some survey-based or fact-finding activities. So basically, the research are classified into quantitative research and qualitative research, where if you are collecting the data in the form of numbers, in the form of quantities, that research are called as quantitative research. In case of some hospital, suppose you are conducting one research for studying patient reasons of happening particular disease to patients. So in that case, you are taking into consideration the patient's weight, height, temperatures, sugar levels, or you can say HB levels. So these are nothing but quantities. These are nothing but numeric values. And on the basis of that numeric values, if you are doing some operations and you are finding some, giving some solutions or suggestions, then such type of research is called as quantitative research. And in qualitative research, we are collecting information about a particular situation by asking some questions to the members, by observing and collecting the qualitative type of data. So basically there are two types of research, qualitative and quantitative research. You have to decide what type of methods, what type of research I am going to complete, whether I am going to complete qualitative research or quantitative research. And third type is nothing but mixed research, where we can use both type of methods to collect data for your research, that is quantitative as well as qualitative research. Then next step is, once you decided the research type, then from for that particular type, you need to collect a sample. Sample is nothing but from the available populations, from the available universe, we are going to select some members for your research. So those some members are called as sample. Now to select those sample from the total population or total universe, what methods you are going to use, what sampling techniques you are going to use, that also you have to decide. So this is the step on the deck. Sampling is nothing but procedure by which some members of the population are selected as a representative of the entire population, is nothing but a sample. So in most of the time what happens, the students ask how many sample I have to select. What should be the size of my sample? So the simple answer is that the size of sample depends upon, it is not fixed 10 numbers, 20 numbers, 50 numbers, 100%. So size of your sample should be large enough to be an accurate representation of population. You have to select sample size that should be adequate one. That should not be very less, because if you consider few members, though you are having adequate population size, and if you select only few members, and on the basis of that if you generate some result, then that result may not be applicable for all population. So you have to select sample size that should be representative of your total population. That should be adequate one, so that what findings I am going to give on the basis of the collection and data collected from that sample, that should be applicable to all population. Second one, that should be large enough to achieve statistically significant result. Means the sample size what we are selecting, that sample size should prove helpful to generate some statistical results. That's why the sample size should be adequate one. That should be enough one, or we can say good one. Then there are basically two types of sampling designs. So while the sample designs to be used must be before the deciding sample selecting the sampling method, the researcher should take into consideration the nature of inquiry and other related factors. Means how we are going to collect data, from where the data is coming. So on the basis of that, they have to select what type of sampling techniques they have to use. Basically, there are two types of sampling methods: probability sampling method and non-probability sampling method. In probability sampling method, all members from the populations have equal probability to get selected as a sample. But in case of non-probability sampling method, all members from the universe don't have equal priority, because in non-probability sampling method, the researcher select the respondents as per his convenience, as per his judgment, as per his required quota. So that's why non-probability sampling method has more biased results as compared to probability sampling method, because here a researcher selects the respondent as per his convenience, as per his judgment. So on the basis of that, what conclusions, what interferences we are drawing, that may not be applicable. But in case of probability sampling method, using some standard mechanisms, we are selecting samples from the available population. The first method is a random, simple random sampling. It's also called as lottery method. From the populations, randomly we are selecting respondents. So all members having equal probability of getting selected, but using some methods, we are selecting the samples. Then second one, sampling, systematic sampling. By using some standard, we can say, rules, by creating some group and first member from each group, or odd number group, even number group, some systematic sample method. By using that, if you are selecting the members, then that is called as systematic sampling. Third one is stratified sampling. If the respondents are of heterogeneous type, then to create some samples of homogeneous type by creating some stratas, and from each strata if you select the sample, then that is called as stratified sampling. And last one is a cluster sampling. If the total population is very large, then you have to divide the total population into different clusters. Likewise, in case of India, if you want to do research on whole India, then you have to divide total India in north, south, east, west. These are the four clusters we have created. So from that cluster, we are going to select the sample. So these are nothing but different sampling design methods. So as per your topic, as per your interest, as per your objectives, you have to select what type of sampling design, sampling methods you are going to select, and on the basis of that, you have to select samples from the total population. While doing the research, you have to use some ethical practices, so that the all different research organizations, they have given the guidelines, do and don'ts. So on the basis of that, you have to go ahead with research ethics. Also, you have to get consent from the respondents from where you are going to collect information. You have to ensure them that the information that you are collecting, that we will keep confident, that should not be disclosed, or what that information we are going to use in where we are going to use. So if you give all type of information to the respondent, and if you get the consent from the respondent, then you will be safe from different legal issues. So as a researcher, you should you have to get consent, informed consent from the respondent, from where you are going to collect data. Then if you complete all the activities, then next part is you have to collect the data. To on the basis of your research topic, on the basis of your methods, on the basis of a type of sample or sampling size, you have to identify what method of data collection you have to go ahead with. So this data collection method is nothing but fact finding techniques, which we are going to collect from the respondent. So in a research, basically there are two types of data is needed. First one is the primary data and second one is secondary data. Primary data is called as phrase data that you are going to collect from the respondent by asking questionnaires, by observation, by, by consumer trials, by hall tests, or by conducting interviews, or you can say focus group in discussions. By that, what data you are collecting, that data is called as primary data. So you have to decide what primary data I have to collect for my research, and to get the data, what tool I have to use. Whether I have to use questionnaire, I have to use schedule, or I have to do on-site observation, I have to arrange interviews, or what method I have to use. And from which technique you have to use, that you have to decide in case of collecting primary data. And the secondary data is called as the other type of data is called as secondary data. Secondary data is the data which is published by other members who have already done the research. So that data is called as secondary data. That secondary data you can collect from different research articles, books, newspapers, internets, and publish the CDs and DVDs. So by reading, by referring those material, if you collect some data, then that data is called as secondary data. So primary data, secondary data that are related to your research and what data you are collecting. So on the basis of that, you have to go ahead with next part, that is analysis of data. What data you have collected from using different primary data collection techniques as well as secondary data collection techniques. That data you have to analyze using different statistical tools by creating tables, by creating charts and applying different tests. You have to analyze the given data, whether the expected result is achieved or not. To test that, you have to analyze the data. So the raw research data need to be edited, tabulated and analyzed to find the result and interpret them. The method used may be a manual or computer based. You can use for analysis purpose, you can use statistical tools like Excel, SPSS, or different statistical tools are there. By using that, you can analyze your data, or you can, by using your own knowledge of statistics, you can interpret the data. The analysis plan follows from research objective to study. So while analyzing the data, always you have to take into consideration what is my scope for my research, what are the objective of my research, and whether the data what I have collected that focuses my objectives, that focuses my significance, that focuses my scope or not. So all those things you have to take into consideration while analysis of data. And the last part is nothing but preparation of reports. When you collect all the data, then that after doing analysis of data, and on the basis of that analysis, what findings, what suggestions, what interpretations you have done, everything you have to publish in a report. That report is called as, if the research work is for master degree, then that is called as thesis. And if it is a PhD work, then that is called as dissertation. So what should be the content? So what should be the sequence of your report? So in what sequence you have to enlist the content of the reports? Those things we are going to see in this section. So the report should have basically two parts: title pages and main document. In title pages, what should be? The title page should be, in first page should be the cover page, which gives information about title of your research paper, who is the research, who is the guide, for what purpose he has conducted the research, and when he has conducted the research. So all information should be enclosed, should be right on your cover page. The next page should be certificate or consent letter. Who has approved your research topic? Who has given consent to your research? That page should be the second page, that is consent page. Then declarations pages, where the guide has to give declaration that the work is genuine work Also, student has to give the declaration that the work is carried out by the student by his own. He has not copied the data. He has not done any illegal activities or unethical practices, that he has to give in the declaration section. Then acknowledgement, where we are giving the thanks to the members who have directly or indirectly helped you to complete your research. That is the acknowledgement part. And last, that is table of contents. So here, how you are organizing your thesis. What should be the info? What in first topic? What is the title of first topic? What points we are going to cover? In second topic, what points? One third topic. So all those are nothing but table of content. In table of contents, if you the other tables are, if you are using some tables, then list of tables. If you are using some figures, list of figures. So all those table of contents you have to write at the beginning. The next point is main pages. So main is nothing but main document. This is nothing but proper organization of your research thesis. The first topic should be research design, which gives overall information regarding introduction, object title, objectives, methodology you are going to use, scope of your research, and how many chapters you are going to write in your thesis. So all those things you have to write in your first research design topic. In second topic should be the review of literature. For your research, what different materials you have referred, means what different PhD thesis you are referred, MPhil thesis you are referred, books referred, research journals referred, websites referred. So what white paper referred. So those references you have to write, and what findings you find, that you have to write in a review of literature. Then the next one is, if you are doing research for a particular organization, then you have to write about that particular organization profile. What is the work culture of that particular organization, and what they are facing the problems. If you are using some theoretical concepts, then you have to write about the concepts of that particular topic that you are going to use in your research. Then fourth topic should be data analysis and interpretation. Using different data collection techniques, what data you have collected, how you are interpreting that data, and on the basis of that interpretation, what findings and suggestions you found, or what different models you have developed, that you have to write in last, that is findings and suggestion part. So at the end of report, there should be appendix. We should give some additional information about some technical words, or we can say key terminologies that are used in your research. So your research may be referred by some person who might be having idea about the terms used in your research. But for the novice user, if you want to get give a benefit of your research to that member also, then he can refer that appendix. He can read that technical terms, and he can get understood the working or importance of your research work. Then at the end of report, you have to add bibliography. That means how many different books you are referred, journals you are referred, different reports you are referred. That you have to write in bibliography with standard format. Also, if you have referred some online references, then that also you have to enlist at the end of your report. So those things you have to follow while doing the reports. So in today's discussion, I have completely tried to explain different steps you have to follow while conducting the research. If you have any doubts regarding this, you can contact me. My mobile number is 98500 and my name is Dr.B.J.Mohite. So today we'll stop here. Thank you.